The atmosphere on the set of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert was thick with anticipation. Tonight's guest was none other than the world-renowned journalist Christiane Amanpour, and the rumor swirling was that she would be dropping a proverbial bombshell about the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. Amanpour had scored the first post-Oprah prime-time interview with Meghan and Harry after they had departed Britain amidst the firestorm of controversy. At the time, it looked to be another sympathetic puff piece designed to hammer home the spurious charges of racism and mistreatment they had lobbed at the royals. But in the days after the taped sit-down had aired, whispers began emerging from Amanpour's inner circle that the whole dynamic had taken a shocking turn. Some claimed the veteran interviewer was so appalled by Meghan's on-screen deceptions that she secretly decided to leverage the cutting room floor footage for maximum impact. And what better global stage for such a reckoning than one of America's most-watched television comedy shows, where she could thoroughly discredit the polarizing Duchess before a massive primetime audience. Hostilities renewed. As the house lights dimmed and Colbert took the stage, a palpable hush fell over the audience and crew in equal measure. Everyone could sense the gravity of what might transpire tonight. Would Amanpour really decide to nuke the Montecito Massive's credibility from orbit using her own damning audio-video receipts? Colbert opened the show with his trademark self-effacing wit as the live band played them out to commercial break. When the cameras returned, he soaked in the applause before transitioning into introductions. "My next guest needs no introduction, but I'm contractually obligated, so please welcome the legendary journalist Christiane Amanpour." The iconic reporter strode out to thunderous cheers and applause, graciously embracing Colbert before taking a seat. But something seemed undeniably steely in her presence tonight. While outwardly poised and gracious as ever, there was a forcefulness subtly pulsing underneath her comportment. "Christiane, it's truly an honor to have you on The Late Show," Colbert began once the reception died down. "Let me just say up front that whatever fireworks you brought with you tonight, safety goggles have already been issued to my staff per union regulations." The seasoned journalist allowed herself a quick smirk at the winking callback to the unconfirmed rumors. "Well, Stephen, I must say I've been positively surprised at some of the reactions following my recent interviewing of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex," she played coyly. "Let's just call it an object lesson in always striving to pursue and illuminate the unvarnished truth in any story." Amanpour's words hung thick over the studio like an ominous cloud promising redemptive thunder just over the horizon. The two banter back and forth for a few more minutes, recapping her iconic career and some recent humanitarian efforts. But the tension was steadily building towards an unresolved climax. Everyone could sense the tectonic bombshell that threatened to drop at any moment. Airing the receipts. After a commercial pause to cut through the tension like a cleansing palm through the air, Colbert returned to the subject burning in everyone's minds. "So, Christiane, let me get right to the heart of the matter here tonight," he stated with just a slight glint of mischief. "We've all heard the rumblings that you emerged from your sit-down with Meghan and Harry rather dissatisfied, let's say. Care to shed any light on those rumors?" Amanpour noticeably straightened her posture, shifting gears to address the issue head-on. "To be fully transparent, Stephen, I did indeed come away from that interview with a much different perspective than I initially anticipated going into it." She allowed a pregnant pause to linger, drawing out the suspense. "I have tried my best over decades of journalism to remain apolitical and present the facts as impartially as possible," she continued, elevating the stern edge in her timbre. "But I'll admit, I perhaps bought into the hype of the Sussexes' self-styled narrative as voices for progressive truth-telling just a bit too readily." Colbert raised his eyebrows in surprise, subtly urging her to elaborate for his captivated studio audience. Amanpour took the bait without blinking. "Everything shifted for me during the sit-down once I began pressing Meghan in particular on some of the more eyebrow-raising grievances she's routinely aired with little concrete evidence. Her reactions triggered some very real concerns about ulterior motives and deceptions regarding her own background that simply cannot remain unchecked." With that, she reached down and retrieved a modest briefcase that had remained at her feet during the interview. Undoing the clasps with a faint click, Amanpour slowly opened the sleeve to retrieve a small remote control. "Stephen," she declared with an unflinching gaze, I brought with me tonight some exclusive footage from the bonus recordings of my interview that I feel will shed some much-needed sunlight on the very credibility of the Duchess of Sussex herself. Amanpour aimed the remote over her shoulder towards a massive screen upstage as Colbert issued a playful "boo-hoo" in anticipation of whatever shocking disclosure might follow. Within seconds, the towering flat screen burst into a video feed that immediately seized everyone's attention. It was clearly candid, behind-the-scenes footage from the Sussex interview having been secretly captured by Amanpour's production team. The lens opened on a smiling Meghan, adjusting her makeup in between takes while Harry snacked off-camera. But what she said next caused audible gasps from everyone in attendance. "Oh, just fix this dreadful orange bronzer," Meghan tooted into the mirror disdainfully. "They always overdo it on my ethnic makeup and make me look utterly uncivilized." Everyone watched in stunned silence as the Duchess meticulously scrutinized her appearance from multiple angles, complaining about the makeup, hairdressers, and stylists the entire time. No, this simply will not do. I look like Abby's hot-headed football wife on a daytime court show. Absolutely redo everything top to bottom and get me someone presentable." As the Duchess ripped off her microphones and stormed off in a huff, the footage cut directly to a new clip of Harry being interviewed for his reaction to Meghan's notorious story about being denied medical care while pregnant in the UK. "Harry, if I may, your wife's account of being barred access to mental health services for suicidal ideations while carrying Archie strikes most as incredibly alarming," Amanpour's off-camera voice pressed. "But I must admit, I'm a bit troubled by the complete lack of substantiating evidence or corroboration provided by anyone inside the palace. Surely such a callous dismissal would have raised alarm bells from others than just you." The bemused Duke shifted uncomfortably before flashing a slightly incredulous look at his surroundings. "Wait, did you not hear about the time customs officers at Riyadh airport openly joked how they'd love to sleep with my wife while I was only feet away from them? What kind of reprehensible security leads would then turn around and assist an expectant mother in distress?" Amanpour gently pressed for just a shred of confirmation. "Well, Harry, as much as any lapse in protocol or decorum from security is concerning, does that really justify the extraordinary claim that literally no medical staff ever offered any mental health support services at all?" What happened next left both audience members and Colbert visibly aghast. Harry's face contracted into an unmistakable grimace of sheer contempt as he seethed, "Good God, you really are a daft old hag if you're actually stupid enough to start second-guessing my wife's harrowing experience just because you didn't uncover some official file on it." The Duke pounded his fist on the table and unleashed absolute vitriol upon the veteran journalist. "You insufferable, vapid courtiers are all exactly the same. Whatever Meghan states as her reality must be unassailably protected. No one in that vile culture of abuse gets to question otherwise." Harry's rage only momentarily abated before leaning in with scalding intensity towards the cameras. "And you better get your producers to cut this footage if you ever want access to either of us again."